Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jefferson County Growth Association for our Meet the Candidate. We've got a lot of the local candidates that are going to be here tonight. We're also going to be doing this again on Tuesday night, October the 2nd, and that will be more of the state and the federal candidates. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Comtree, we have, where'd they go? The Jefferson County Labor, we've got Eagle Bank, First State Community Bank, Bank of Bloomsdale, Doe Run, Govro Land Services, Bob Kister Law Office, and Metro Office Supply, and Hallmark Cards and Gifts. Now, Metro Office Supply and Hallmark Cards and Gifts, we got these new cards in, and they are the Beatles cards, Lennon and McCartney. And the crazy thing about these cards is you can't read them. You have to sing them. So this one here is Good Day Sunshine. So we're going to start off with the judge. This is for Division 1. And to lead off is Stan Schneer. He is an attorney in Hillsboro, and he is a Republican running for the office. Welcome up, Stan.
At the outset, let me indicate that I have practiced before Judge Wilkins and that my opponent has acted with integrity and attends to the tasks in keeping with the demeanor of his office. We both seek employment for a job with only one opening. Our differences are that we approach life from two different vantage points. He sees it through the eyes of a Democrat and I see it through the eyes of a Republican. Thus, the things that set us apart are our political philosophies. I'm the product of a German-raised father and an English-raised mother. One gave me strict guidelines and conservative values, and the other showed me how to love. I've spent my career in the law, principally in the private practice, operating my own business by providing services to one client at a time. I have no security for a monthly check, but rather must strive each day to satisfy the client and the many requirements of the government to remain in business. Unlike government employees, I pay for my own expenses, which include health insurance and the cost of continuing legal education. I identify with the values of the Republican Party. I belong to the party who believes that all life is precious, no matter what age. I belong to the political party who feels that the best government is small government, and the task of government is best left to the states to support the people, not having the people support the federal government. I believe that social responsibility includes caring for those that are in need. I have provided free legal assistance to litigants out of my pocket. I've acted in the capacity of guardian ad litem for minors, elderly, and disabled at nominal or no compensation. I have routinely accepted appointment from the courts for benevolent cases at no charge to that client. I'm a lifelong resident of Jefferson County. I live in the house in which I grew up, just a couple of miles outside of Hillsboro. I was raised Methodist and now attend the Hillsboro Christian Church. I graduated from Hillsboro High School. I have an aerospace engineering degree from Rolla and a law degree from the Chicago-Kent College of Law in Chicago, Illinois. I have practiced storefront law in Hillsboro for 33 years. I have practiced not only in the area of criminal law, but also civil law. And not only before state courts, but also federal courts. And not only before state agencies, but also federal agencies. I have some of the leading cases in real estate law, especially relating to the right to jury trial in those real estate cases. I also recently won a case in the Court of Appeals, which is now case precedent, which directs that child support paying parents are obligated to take care of their disabled children past the age of 18, where the children continue to remain under a severe disability. I currently have before the United States District Court a case challenging the correctness of the loan foreclosure procedure. I am familiar with small cases and large cases. I was the attorney for the owner of a mobile home court in a $19 million class action suit who, along with others, was damaged by a chlorine spill here in Jefferson County. I have briefed and argued several cases in the state Supreme Court and many in the Court of Appeals of the state of Missouri. I routinely practice before the federal agency, for the Social Security Administration, to secure the justified rights of those of the legitimately disabled and those who have paid into the system of Medicare and now seek to harvest that benefit. I am a registered, certified Veterans Administration attorney. I practice in that area because I firmly believe in the sacrifice that's been made by our servicemen. This varied and extensive legal exposure brings a broader sense of all the law, how it applies and how it integrates together. And as a result, I have an excellent understanding of the law. I'm guided by the principle learned at the hand of my father's best friend, Bob Kleinschmidt, who gave me sage advice while we traveled back and forth to watch Musial play ball. He said, when you are elected to any office, however great or small, never feel that you're bigger than the office. Think not of re-election or advancement, but rather of service at the living moment, so that you may afterwards enjoy the happy reflections consequent on a well-spent life and die in the hope of a glorious immortality. As a public officer, you owe three great duties: to God, your neighbor, and yourself, and in that order. Ultimately, the choice is in the hands of the voters. I have proven integrity combined with a background and knowledge of the law to be your servant. I need your vote. I ask for your vote. Thank you, and God bless you.
Stan and I got a lot at college. He's an aerospace engineer, and I flunked out of college. So when I went to Jefferson College here, I can say that I got lots of parking tickets. And my daughter went to Missouri State, and she got lots of parking tickets. And now my son goes to Mizzou, where we're continuing the family tradition of racking up parking tickets. So I've come to the conclusion that universities are in the business of writing parking tickets. All right, Bob, you ready?
I'm ready.
Bob, come on up. Bob Wilkins.
I joked before we went live and said I'm not sure that I want to follow that routine, and somebody in the audience said it's not much to follow, so here I go. First, I'd like to thank Stan for the kind remarks that he made. And you know, I've got an outline here. I didn't write a book. I've got an outline of things that I wanted to talk about, but I think Stan summed up my career. He actually told you what I've been doing for the last 29 years. My entire legal career has been centered around public service. I started as a prosecutor in St. Louis County. I worked for the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Missouri. For 11 years, I served as the appointed prosecutor in the city of Arnold. In 1994, I was elected the prosecuting attorney of Jefferson County. I served for 12 years. I was on the board of directors for the Missouri Association of Prosecuting Attorneys for 7 of those 12 years. In 2005, I was the elected president of the board of the Missouri Prosecuting Attorneys Association. In 2006, I was elected to the bench, and I've served ever since in that capacity. But as Stan said, by the way, I want to again back up and interrupt myself. This is not about partisan politics. I do not believe that judges ought to be running in a partisan race. We serve the people. We don't serve political agendas. I am a pro-life Catholic. I'm a member of Our Lady Queen of Peace Parish in House Springs, Missouri. I am a card-carrying member of the National Rifle Association. I run as a Democrat because I have to be a party affiliation. I don't believe that judges ought to do that. Darrell Missy is the Republican judge in our county. He has pushed for that for a number of years. I've told him ever since he came up with the idea that I support that position. Judges are nonpartisan. That's what we do. And now I'm going to go back on target. Not only have I served as a prosecutor, and that's the bulk of my career. I've been practicing law for almost 34 years. Probably Stanley and I graduated from law school at the same time. 1979, Stan? 1979. My difference was the University of Missouri and St. Louis University, both here. As a prosecutor, I worked hard. I founded the Children's Advocacy Center of East Central Missouri. It was the first advocacy center outside of a major metropolitan area. It currently serves 12 counties and more than 1 million people. The Advocacy Center is a center for forensic interviewing of child victims of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. That's my life. That's my career. And I served as president of that board for the entire 6 years that the board existed. I was granted an award for the Child Advocate of the Year in 2006. For 8 years during my period of time as a prosecutor, I served on the 3rd Congressional District Committee on Domestic Violence. That was Franklin, St. Charles, Jefferson, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County. We took a regional approach to the issue of domestic violence. When I was a prosecutor, I developed a fast-track program for domestic violence. Children, women in need, those are my concerns. I was the prosecutor of the year from the Mothers Against Drunk Driving in 1999. My entire career has been in public service, 29 years in Jefferson County. In 29 years, I have never faced an opponent. It's time that I have to do that. I don't want to have to be here. I look around the audience and I see so many friendly faces, people that I've known forever, that I consider to be friends of mine on both sides of the aisle. I am not a politician. I am just a judge. I've handled thousands of cases since I've taken the bench. As a former prosecutor, I'm tough on crime. I'm fair and reasonable in divorce cases. I think every divorce case ought to be settled, not tried. Do you really want me to listen to your case for 3 hours and decide where your kids are going to live? You need to grow up and make those decisions. You need to divide your own property. With respect to child custody cases, I'm compassionate and understanding. The children are the most important thing in a divorce. We have to protect our children. In civil cases, by the way, there's 6 circuit judges. I am one of only 2 that handle serious felonies, domestic relations, civil jury and non-jury cases. There's only 2 of us. Nathan Stewart is the other judge. Everybody else specializes, but I have the expertise and the experience to handle all aspects. I treat everyone in front of me with courtesy, and I treat them as I would like to be treated myself, and I thank you, and I'm asking for your vote because I think I've worked for it and I deserve it. Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Dan Stallman, if you could come on up. Bear with me here. So what we've got next up is the sheriff. And the current sheriff's, go ahead and have a seat, because who knows how long this is going to take. Well, oh.
I don't want to leave it up there.
Well, here. Here.
Oh, I knew you were going to.
And the NFL called that an incomplete pass.
That's an interception in my book.
So anyway, we kind of throw this together, not necessarily at the last minute, but we do realize that people have lives and they plan things, and so we picked this date for the, let's say, the countywide offices. And then Sheriff Boyer called and says, hey, I've had plans for almost a year for that whole week. I'm gone the entire week. Can you move it? And, he's the sheriff. And I looked him right in the eye and I said, nope, we're not going to move it. And he's like, well, could you just move? We're going to be doing it again the next Tuesday. Can we just move me to next Tuesday? And he is the sheriff. And I said, no. Because a good lawyer knows the law, a great lawyer knows the judge, and a fantastic lawyer knows the prosecuting attorney. And then I don't know what that makes me for saying no to the sheriff. But he did write a letter that I won't read, but basically it was saying that he wants to get reelected and he can't be here. So we do appreciate the time and the effort, and he did work hard on trying to convince us to change. But anyway, so in a few minutes, we're going to change things up just a little bit. Everybody in here is very intelligent. Everyone in here knows a lot about politics, and I'm sure that, like me, everyone has gone to the ballot booth and there was something on the ballot that you had no clue was going to be there. And now all of a sudden you've got to make a decision because there's something on here that we don't know about. Well, that kind of happens during presidential race because everybody spends so much time talking about the president. This is why we like to do these things, because you get a chance to meet and see and talk to all the different candidates and the different elected officials. So up right now is for sheriff. So help me welcome up. And see, I'm doing this off memory. Dan Stallman.
Good evening. My name's Dan Stallman, and I'm candidate for sheriff, and I am here. I'd like to thank the county, the Jefferson County Growth and Development, for having it and for the college hosting it. And I guess I usually would say I'm married, and my wife Carol, sitting in the front row for 35 years, she's put up with me, good, bad, and sometimes indifferent. We have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, a small Shih Tzu. We live in DeSoto. After listening to all the schooling and everything, I said, my goodness, I guess I should mention that. I went to Merrimack Junior College, I went to Warshoe at night school, and then I got into law enforcement. I spent 1 year in the wonderful city of Ladue, where the super rich lived, and I was a poor guy from South St. Louis, Cleveland High School, working there with all the rich people. Stan Musial, Harry Carey, Mr. Bush, people that used helicopters to get back and forth from home to work. I spent 1 year with Ladue, 3 years with the Chrysler Corporation in their space division, 10 years as a private contractor with the federal government as assistant chief of security. Then I came to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office under Buck Barker. Buck was, I guess, happy to see me, but he said, I want you to know you're the first Republican I've ever hired. I didn't know if that was good or bad. During that 24 years, I spent 10 years on the road. I spent 3 years in the COPS program. I spent time as a hostage negotiator. The best part of my whole career with the Sheriff's Department has been 14 years spent as a dare instructor in the schools in Jefferson County, the public schools and the parochial schools. And for those of you that might not know it, DARE is an anti-drug program. And I think it's a good program, or I wouldn't have stayed in it 14 years, and I don't think they'd have let me stay in it unless I was doing a good job. It's great dealing with 5th graders. I don't have to deal with the bad guys, the ding-dongs, and the idiots of life. I get to deal with great kids and see them every day, and it was a fun job. I can't complain about my job the last 14 years. I've been asked in phone calls and in person why I'm doing this, why am I running? My goal is to fight crime, reduce the drug usage, all these things. The big part of it is to put 35 officers back on the street. Mr. Boyer says this all the time. He's 35 guys short. You guys should all be really ticked off about being 35 guys short. Makes it more of a challenge to get to people's homes when they need help, to service calls for police, to work accidents and everything else. My goal is to realign the department and put 35 men and women back on the street where they belong, to fight the drug problem. And a lot of us don't realize that the drug problem kind of ripples back to those same people are the same people sometimes that are doing the burglaries, assaults, burning houses down and blowing them up when they're making meth. The same people we're dealing with all the time. I think it'd be nice that we become proactive instead of just reacting. And guys, right now, we're just reacting. I'd like to bring back or reinitiate the DARE program. Right now, when I retired in December, they did away with the DARE program. but 2 weeks, well, almost 2 days really, if you get technical. 2 days after I retired, I was called by 3 schools in the county to come back to their schools to teach the DARE program. This term, I again am at 3 different schools on my own teaching the DARE program. It's a valued class. We meet for 12 weeks. The schools want it. The sheriff's office should supply it. We're not doing it. You need to fight drugs. We can lock people up all day. You have to educate them somewhere. I would appreciate your vote November 6th. Thanks.
Linda Nees, could you come on down? At this point, I'm going to read off a bunch of our sponsors, and I'm going to check them off with this fine copper cross pen from Metro Office Supply and Hallmark Cards and Gifts. So we got Eagle Bank, First State Community Bank, Bank of Bloomsdale, Doe Run, and Dan Govro Land Surveying. Dan is our president. Let's give him a big hand. And Dan promised me that if everyone here tonight joins Jefferson County Growth and Development, he will go streaking across the campus. So, Association. Thank you. You know, I've been saying the same name since 1995, and then they go and change it on me. Comtree, Bob Kister Law Firm, Jefferson County Labor Club, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, Metro Office Supply, Hallmark Cards and Gifts, and Metro Janitorial Supply. Up next is the treasurer, Ken Horton. I don't think he's here, right? I talked with Ken, but Ken got sick and was unable to make it. I've talked to Ken several different times, and I'm sure he's massively disappointed that he can't be here because he's been talking about this for months. But Linda, come on up. All right.
I'm sorry, excuse my voice, please. I want to tell you that I have been in the treasurer's office for 21 years. I was appointed treasurer, for you that don't know, in March of 2011 when Mark Abel, our treasurer then, passed away with cancer. As your treasurer, I will continue to receipt, disperse, and allocate the county's money into the proper funds that is required by our state, Missouri state statutes. When we receive our money, we receive money from 18 different departments within the county government in Hillsboro and around. We collect federal, state, grants, reimbursements, local sales tax. I can go on and on for a while, but I don't have the time. We take that money and it has to be broke down, and we have 80 funds that we have, and we use like 141 transcodes. These all have to be broke down and put into our financial system. So everybody then can just look in there, see what they've got, what they've received. I will continue to disperse the money that we have. We only disperse money that it's not the county's money, it's money we collect for other entities, like Jefferson College, all the other colleges, the schools. That's money that we can't keep. So that's all the treasurer does, the money that they disperse. I do the investing for the county. I invested in safe and secure investments. The county has $49 million in total assets. Of that, $29 million is our regular checking account, our operating account. That money I take is out every evening and I invest it. Put it back in, we have interest the next day. We have reserve money that I've taken that's never been invested before, and I've invested that. So I'm making money for the county. If there's any money around, I'm going to take it and invest it. So auditors, we kind of go round and round on that, but, but I will invest it. So that's the main thing that the treasurer does for the county. I am a protector of the county's money. I will continue to invest, to safeguard it, to make sure it's not wasteful or used unlawfully. And I thank you very much for your time.
Okay, if you have not received one of these in the mail, you're going to receive it. And this is where we like to talk a little bit about some of the issues that are going to be on the ballot. And I've got somebody that's going to read one of the big ones for us. So welcome up. She's going to Jefferson College, Miss Lauren Robinson. All right, so tell everybody, where did you go to high school?
Festus.
And you're going here to Jefferson College. Do you have a major?
I'm going to get my associates in biology, and then when I transfer, I'm wanting to get my undergraduate in physical therapy.
Cool. And then you are reading Proposition A, and Proposition A is proposed by an initiative position. Did I write that? Initiative petition. That means they got a bunch of people to sign a petition, and then that means that it goes on to the ballot. Now then the governor gets to decide what ballot does it go on. Does it go in April? Does it go in August? Or does it go in November? But he has to put on the ballot if they gets enough signatures. So this is Proposition A, Miss Lauren Robinson.
Shall Missouri law be amended to allow any city not within a county, the city of St. Louis, the option of transferring certain obligations and control of the city's police force from the Board of Police Commissioners currently appointed by the governor to the city and establishing a municipal police force. Establish certain procedures and requirements for governing such a municipal police force, including residency, rank, salary, benefits, insurance, and pension, and prohibit retaliation against any employee of such municipal police force who reports conduct believed to be illegal to a superior government agency or the press. State governmental entities' estimated savings will eventually be up to $500,000 annually. Local governmental entities' estimated annual potential savings to $3.5 million. However, consolidation decisions with an unknown outcome may result in the savings being more or less than estimated.
All right, hang on. That was very good. Give her a big hand. Now, do you have any idea what any of that means? No?
Nope.
Well, you're not alone, because that's what happens. She just turned 18, so she just voted the first time in August. So this will be her second time voting, so congratulations. So anyway, thank you very much. Have a seat. Congratulations. You made it through. So what that is, for those of you that don't know, St. Louis and Kansas City's police departments are controlled by the Missouri legislature. During the Civil War, one of the ways the Union Army was able to keep the guns out of all these different malicious hands was to take over their police departments. So that was a long, long time ago, and they're trying to change it back. So you can read about it and study more about it and learn more yourself. Up next is the assessor, and I believe Terry's the only one. Am I right? Anybody else here from the assessor? The other gentleman was also sick or out of town. Are you ready? You gotta get your glasses. You can borrow mine. Well, come get a little closer to me here, because I'm big on the O, and you're saying it's got a little bit more A. So Terry, it's not Terry Roche, it's Terry
Rash.
Rash. All right. You currently work at the treasurer's office. You're the current treasurer? I mean, the assessor. So anyway, let's give him a big hand. Terry.
Linda's the treasurer. The pretty one's the treasurer. Again, thank you all for having me here tonight. I know probably a few of you, not all of you, and probably very few of you know me, so just a couple little things about myself. I've been a lifelong resident of this county, 62 years. I've been married to my wife Elaine for 16 years. We have 2 children between us and 4 grandchildren between us. I've worked in the assessor's office for 23 years. In those 23 years, I've worked in or supervised every department there. Since 2010, I've been the assessor. I'm a licensed general real estate appraiser. That's the highest level of licensing you can get in the state of Missouri. I also have a real estate sales license that is current. I have over 500 hours of certified appraisal and assessment coursework. I'm currently the president of the Central East Missouri Assessors Association. I'm a member of the International Association of Assessing Officers, the Elks, and the Rotary. In 1989, when I started in the assessor's office, we only had 2 personal computers in the entire office. The rest of the office had what you would call just a simple workstation. About half of them had a simple workstation, which they shared with other employees, and the rest of the office had nothing. Today, everyone in the office has a computer on their desk, and everyone has some form of internet access as is needed by them. Today, there are 9 state-licensed residential appraisers in our office, in addition to my general license. In 2010, we had 39 employees and the assessor. Today, we have 29 employees in the office and the assessor. Today, we do more work, more efficiently, with less staff, and I also might mention with about $400,000 less budget. The office has come a long way in the 23 years that I've been there. I've seen a whole lot of changes. In May of this year, we turned off a nearly 30-year-old mainframe assessment system and turned on a new client-server-based real estate and personal property assessment software package. This system gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility, and it's going to take us a lot of years into the future, probably another 30 years into the future before we have to replace it. It's very adaptable. It's amazing what this thing does compared to what we've been using. As assessor, I will continue to provide fair assessments to the taxpayers. In the 23 years that I've worked in the office, not once has our residential assessed value ratio with the state of Missouri been over the state mandated limit. Our assessments are always well within those guidelines. A good indicator, I believe, of whether your assessed values are fair and your citizens think they are fair are the number of appeals that you typically get in a year from the citizens. In the last 2 years, 2011 and 2012, since I've been assessor, we had 20 residential single-family appeals to the Board of Equalization. Now that's 20. Not 2, 20. During that same time period, St. Charles County had over 3,700 single-family Board of Equalization appeals, and St. Louis County had over 16,000 single-family Board of Equalization appeals. I think that tells you that the citizens of this county realize that their assessments are very fair. Excuse me. I also have one other priority. I would like to offer the citizens of our county the ability to report their annual personal property declarations online in the future. This would be convenient for the taxpayers, and it would be very cost-effective for the office. The assessor's office currently mails out over 120,000 personal property declarations every year. Every one of these declarations have to be mailed back to the office. They have to be opened by hand, they have to be sorted, and they have to be scanned into the system. If we can get half of our citizens to return their personal property declarations by hand, it'll probably save us about $30,000 the first year and $30,000 every year after that. It'll also cut down on the workload that we have because every one of those emailed back declarations will go directly into the system, and when the time comes to value them, we'll punch a button and that'll be it. This could also save people penalties and interest. A lot of you probably get those declarations and you lay them off on the side somewhere, and the deadline is usually March, and you may forget it. By the time you get around to it, there's probably a penalty on there. If you forget until the next year, you're going to get collector's penalties. If your declaration is not returned to us by the deadline or weeks before the deadline, we can email you out a reminder, and you can go to your own little computer, do a little click, and turn it right into us. Oh, thank you. That was it anyway.
I kind of dozed off there for a second, so I wasn't paying attention to the time. So thank you, Dr. Kaminsky, for doing that. Hey, could Bruce King and Steve Farmer come on down? And while these guys are down, I'm going to take a sip of my Coca-Cola out of my St. Louis Rams Tervis that you can purchase at Metro Supply and Hallmark. So if you're at Eagle Bank or if you're at First State Community Bank, there's a bunch of those incidentally. Bank of Bloomsdale, Doe Run. Boy, we're going to miss Doe Run. They're shutting down. They've only got a few more months to go. If you get a chance and you're in Herculaneum, go across that new bridge. I'm relatively optimistic that the port thing will eventually happen. Next week, hopefully there will be a lot of talk about the port with the state candidates. They spent a lot of money on that, and I know Dan Govro has anybody worked any harder than Dan Govro on this that doesn't work for Doe Run? I don't think so. But this could definitely be a big game changer for Jefferson County. It would be a lot of jobs. I tell people, I was at a Hallmark meeting and I was talking to some people that were on Lake Michigan. And I'm like, so what do you got? Are you in a resort community? And she goes, no, we're like the 8th largest inland port in the United States. And just went on and on and on about all the products that are brought in on Lake Michigan. We're right in the middle. They can come right up the river. It makes sense to me. Hopefully it'll happen. But Jefferson Countyans are going to have to get behind it and call senators and congressmen from other states, and we're going to have to work real hard on getting that. The next up is probably, if you don't mind my saying, one of the more least understood offices that's an elected office, and that is the public administrator. And going first is the current public administrator. He's a Democrat, Bruce King. Come on up.
I don't know, Steve, but I think we might have had a little more time this evening if we'd had a little bit less of Chris. But I'm just saying. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you this evening as I ask for your support in my campaign. My family has been in Jefferson County for over 100 years. I've grown up with Jefferson County values and ideas. I understand what the people of this county want from their elected officials. And more importantly, I know what they want as far as protection for the elderly residents in their community from abuse, theft, and exploitation. As public administrator since 1999, I have been able to help preserve safety and security for well over 1,000 clients. And I have recovered hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars through the Medicaid recovery program. During those years, my office has gone through many annual audits from many agencies, including the probate court, Jefferson County, the state of Missouri, the Veterans Administration, the Social Security Administration, and Division of Social Services. In 13 years and 9 months that I have been in this position, there has never been a citation or problem of any kind regarding the substantial financial assets of my office that we handle daily. I am proud of our fiscal responsibility and the procedures I have established to maintain the highest standards of accountability to our clients and to the taxpayers. Not one penny of any trust, estate, or payee account has ever been missing or misplaced, and all audit accounting procedures have been approved. Having served as public administrator for nearly 14 years, I have developed strong working relationships with agencies, organizations, businesses, and members of the community who can help provide the best quality of life for the people under my care. When I get a new client, or I have to face a difficult situation with an existing client, I know where to turn for help for the best placement available to serve that client's needs. I know where to get assistance with funding, and if funding streams dry up, I know of other options available. With years of experience, ongoing education about my field, and hands-on management in the lives of the clients under my care, I have a wealth of information to secure the best that's for the clients and the taxpayers of Jefferson County. I know every client, and they know me. I know facility owners and providers around the state, and we all work together as a team to improve the safety and well-being of those under my care. Currently, I'm working with law enforcement and the prosecuting attorney's office in the prosecution of crimes against elderly and disabled as enacted by recent legislation in our state. We are working together to promote a program that educates the populace affected by this legislation and the caregivers, and to make sure abusers get consequences. In closing, my goal is to continue providing the best quality service for those under my care, and to be mindful in protecting taxpayers' dollars. I will maintain the level of service that my office has provided, and I will work to increase prosecution of those who abuse the elderly and disabled. Thank you.
All right, and running as a Republican for public administrator is Mr. Steve Farmer. Steve.
Good evening. I need to stand here or something. Good evening. First, I'd like to thank our hosts, the Jefferson County Growth Association, Jefferson College, and radio station KJFF for making this forum available to us. Next, I would like to thank the Jefferson County residents who have taken the time out of their busy schedules to be here tonight, and those listening in on local media, for it is you that we are asking to trust us as your public servants. Last, though certainly not least, I would like to thank those who are standing guard around the world to keep us safe so we may have this opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Steve Farmer, and I am the constitutional conservative candidate for public administrator of Jefferson County. I have lived in Jefferson County for almost a decade now, thanks to my lovely wife, Nancy, a Herculaneum graduate who attracted me here from Southern Illinois, and I have come to love this county for its rural beauty and the friendly and hardworking people who make it such a great place to live. After spending almost 21 years in the military, split almost evenly between the active duty Navy and the Navy Reserve, I retired in 2005. And looking for other ways to continue my public service, I have become increasingly involved in the local community. I have repeatedly made my voice heard on local issues at the Arnold City Council and the Jefferson County Council, and I was involved in a leadership position in the Jefferson County Tea Party that enjoyed great success and wide support in the 2000 midterm elections, educating and empowering voters who believe in constitutionally limited government, fiscal responsibility that limits bureaucratic intrusion into our lives and our hard-earned money and assets. I have continued my service to the military community through leadership positions in the local Veterans of Foreign Wars, and I want to further my service to the community at large by assisting our most vulnerable citizens through the office of Public Administrator. The incumbent, Bruce King, who I have nothing personal against, has been in office since 1999, and he has not faced a competitive vote of the people since 2004. I believe it is time for a fresh perspective in this very important office. Having served my country honorably and with integrity, my pledge to you is that I will bring those qualities, along with over 2 decades of administrative and supervisory experience, to the Public Administrator's office. My goals are to elevate the awareness of this office and how it serves the people, to continue to advocate for the elderly, veterans, the disabled, and all those who rely on the Public Administrator's office to meet their physical, financial, and legal needs, to seek out alternative means of supporting and assisting the most vulnerable of our fellow citizens, empowering them to take charge of their lives as their ability allows, and protecting the dignity and due process of those who cannot make sound decisions for themselves. I further pledge to do all of this through the rule of law, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and equally, and through the lens of fiscal responsibility, safeguarding the precious resources of both the clients of the office and the taxpayers who help fund it. I need your help to make this happen. So if you agree with me that we need a fresh perspective and can volunteer your time or assist me with a donation, please see me after the meeting, or you can find me on Facebook at Steve Farmer. I ask for your support and your vote in this endeavor, and I thank you for granting me the honor and the privilege of serving you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before we get to the county council, I'm going to ask one of our sponsors tonight to come on up, Mr. Bob Kister. He has a law firm in Herculaneum, Missouri. We also want to thank JCTV for having this on television. We want to thank KJFF for broadcasting this live. And then there's also mymoinfo.com. You can actually go there and re-see the web broadcast of this, I guess, later tonight. Is that right, guys? So thank you guys very much. KJFF is a past recipient of the Jeffersonian Award for all the work that they do. Back there in the back is Miss Ann Portell, one of our newest winners of the Jeffersonian Award. Thank you very much. And I see a few other people that I did want to mention. One is a great guy, Mr. Greg Tucker, back there in the back. He's with the Small Business Administration and the University of Missouri. For those of you that don't know, University of Missouri Columbia, University of Missouri Rolla, and University of Missouri St. Louis is all part of the same organization. So, you know, things transfer, the kids can transfer. If you become an astronaut, they all claim you as that you went to their school. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have some issues on the ballot. One of the big ones that's coming up that will affect everybody in the room one way or the other is coming up. And I asked Bob Kister, good friend of mine for years, to read what's on the ballot, and we might discuss it just briefly afterwards. And then we're going to have the let's see here, Cheryl and Renee, if you can go ahead and mosey on down. Thank you. Mr. Bob Kister.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you, folks, and what an honor it is to be here with all these dedicated public servants and people that make Jefferson County the best place in the world to live and raise children. I just wanted to mention briefly, judicial candidate Stan Schnarr. He mentioned a little bit about his parents. I'm the child of a German father and an Irish mother, which means every morning I wake up and I can't decide, should I conquer the world or go have a drink? One of the propositions that will be on the ballot this November is Proposition E, and this relates to the Affordable Health Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare. The language of the proposition is as follows. Shall Missouri law be amended to prohibit the governor or any state agency from establishing or operating state-based health insurance exchanges unless authorized by a vote of the people or by the legislature? No direct cost or savings for state and local government entities are expected from this proposal. Indirect cost or savings related to enforcement actions, missed federal funding, avoiding implementation cost, and other issues are unknown. And you will vote yes or no on that proposition. Chris mentioned when we first talked about this is one that kind of yes means no and no means yes. You have to read very carefully the language of the proposition, whether you're in favor of the insurance exchanges or opposed to the insurance exchanges. If Chris has any questions for me about the ACA, I'd be happy to answer them at great personal risk to myself.
Well,
Thank you, Chris.
again, this is one of those issues that you have to, everybody's going to vote on it. So you need to find out what it means in its entirety. It's a very, very, very complicated issue, and it's very, very simply worded. But like I say, and don't take my word for it because I didn't graduate from aerospace school or any of the other stuff. But it is one of those where sometimes yes means no and no means yes, so you hate to go in there and you really believe one way and then you find out you voted the complete opposite way. But again, thank you for being a sponsor and thank you for reading that for us. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Chris. And don't leave any hanging chads either.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, it's a nice fall night outside, so when this is over, don't just run off. Be sure and take a look around the campus. This is a very beautiful campus. It's something we can all be very, very proud of. Many of us went to college here. Many of us sent our kids here. Many of the kids go on. Some of us lose our jobs or have a career change, and we come out here to get retrained. It's great that it's here. Like I say, one of the largest businesses in the United States is the education of our children. And Jefferson College is here at the county seat. And one of the other biggest businesses is putting people in jail. And that can be done right up the road here. So, I mean, we got it all covered right here. So, first up for the county council is Miss Renee Reuter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be here tonight. I just came from a county council meeting. We had a special meeting tonight, and we had one item on the agenda to pass the tax rate. And I am so pleased to tell all of you that we have lowered your taxes this year. Let me say that one more time. We lowered your taxes. You might be wondering, how can this be? The Fox School Board just raised their personal property tax rate. How can the county lower it? Well, let me tell you how we did it. This took 20 months of hard work and planning, and we are so pleased to pass the savings along to the people of Jefferson County. As a charter county, one of the first things we did was pass an ordinance that mirrored a lot of the state laws that dealt with minor criminal infractions and traffic issues. And the reason we did that is so that when the sheriff's deputy issues a ticket, he could issue a ticket that the money for your fine will stay in Jefferson County. It won't go to the state capitol. It'll stay right here. Does that make a big difference? Well, I checked today, and since we passed it, the first year that it was in place, and it wasn't in place for the whole year, but we had $600,000 more go through that office since we passed that ordinance. And this year, we're on target to have over $800,000 more go through the municipal court system in Jefferson County. Another thing we did was ask hard questions anytime there was a bid award that was being placed in front of the council. I wanted to know what the contracts look like. I wanted to know what we spent the last year, the previous year. I wanted to know what the budget was for this year for that expenditure. And I wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable with it before I voted for the bid award. And that was really important because there were some runaway bills that came in front of the council. I would say the worst of which was a bill for $325,000 for safety shoes for some of the employees. We cut that by more than 90% because it wasn't necessary to give them that much money. We also limited the fuel usage in our county vehicles. Last year, we found out when we were 3/4 of the way through our year that we had spent over 90% of our budget for fuel. So we passed a resolution, and it was a little controversial. We passed a resolution about gas usage in the county vehicles. After that happened, county officials and department heads took a long, hard look at their fuel usage. Since that time, the county executive amended his vehicle usage policy, and this year, so far, we've saved over $100,000 in fuel alone. We also refinanced debt. I introduced a bill that would refinance our debt and save $1.9 million. A couple months later, we financed more debt and saved over $100,000 over the life of the loans. So that is our formula, and we can pass that savings on to you. You may ask, what about county services? Well, we've been able to keep our county services at exactly the same level as before, and in some cases, we've been able to increase the level of service that we can provide. One great example of this is last year we were asked to raise taxes, and we said no. And we were still able to balance the budget and hire 10 more full-time employees in the Sheriff's Department because that was what was needed, and we did it. Another thing that's important to the County Council is to always try to encourage economic development and bring more jobs to Jefferson County. While I was on the County Council, I voted to pass legislation to help existing businesses expand. I also hosted presentations for local residents and small business owners. And we talked about topics like job search strategies and resources for the unemployed, business plan development, county project bid procedures, and how to bid for county projects, and new and existing business financing opportunities for the people here in Jefferson County. For folks that live in subdivisions, I organized 2 subdivision summits, which were attended by more than 300 residents and trustees in those subdivisions. This program helps the subdivisions learn how to deal with issues that were local in nature and issues that the County Council could not help them with. Some may say that I create controversy, but well-behaved women rarely make history. It is true that I represent the district to my bosses with passion and vigor. If you question my passionate, oh, I am finished. So let me just ask for your vote. Thank you.
Also running for County Council in District 2, running as a Democrat, Ms. Cheryl Herman.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here tonight, and I have to say I'm a little nervous. I can talk in front of 500 students without blinking an eye, but put me in front of people who are my age, and I get a little nervous. I thought first I'd start off by telling you a little bit about myself. I've been married to my husband, Jerry, for 34 years, and we have 4 wonderful daughters. I have a master's degree in educational administration, a deaf education degree, elementary education degree. I'm certified in nonviolent crisis intervention. I have a master board member certification. And I did come to Jefferson College a while back and took some of my first American Sign Language classes here. When I think about the County Council and Jefferson County, I have a few goals that I think are very important. And that includes having a safe, clean environment for our families, an efficient county council, housing that's adequate for all of our citizens, jobs, the port, economy, and the list can go on and on. But the only way I see to get that done is through collaboration. When I look at the current county council, I see well-meaning people, and I see people trying to do their best for what's right in Jefferson County, but I don't see them as very effective. They're from the left and from the right, conservatives and Republicans, and liberals and Democrats. They have a variety of backgrounds and careers, but I see them trying to micromanage things. They put personal agendas first. One county council person even walked out of a council meeting because things on the agenda weren't numbered correctly. They have a budget of about $86 million or so. When I look at that and I think back to some of my experiences, I realized that when I was elected for the Fox School Board in 2000, we were very much in a similar state. We had people on the left and people on the right. We had a variety of backgrounds. We had numerous lawsuits against us. We had people working for personal agendas. And then we decided we needed to change. And the board members went for training. I got my master's board certification. We decided to make a goal for our board, and we started changing things. We used our dedicated, knowledgeable employees, and we asked them to do a job. And our goal was to put education of students first. With that, we earned a state recognition. We have distinction in performance for 11 out of the 11 years that it's been offered. We have national recognition. We have Blue Ribbon Schools and National Schools of Character when we've been invited to Washington, D.C. to receive awards. We have a budget of over $120 million, and we have one of the largest employee base in Jefferson County. We have graduates who serve the world. We have people in businesses all over the world. We have people in the military. They serve all over the world. We have people in other services like the Peace Corps. And that's all about Fox C6. And then I go back to the county council and I say, I want success for the county council. And I think the best way to do that is through collaboration. Another way that I've learned to collaborate is as a teacher. I teach students who are deaf, and we use a lot of collaboration in education. We push into classrooms and we pull the kids out. We use OT, PT, all these different acronyms for people who service our kids, and we all have to find a way to work together so that the kids can learn as much as possible. All of this training I've had in collaboration I can bring to the county council. There's no way one person can do it on their own. It takes all 7 people working together. I would like to have a chance to do that, so I ask for your vote tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Coming up next is for District 6. It'll be Cliff Lane and Kevin Harned. Come on down. All right, so next week, Tuesday, October the 3rd, we're doing this again. We are working hard trying to get the governor and Claire McCaskill and Todd Aiken and Joanne Emerson and a lot of the people to come down. If that happens, we're probably going to move this over to the Viking room. But as of right now, we're still going to say that it's in this room, kind of negotiating a little bit. It's a long way for a lot of people to come for 5 minutes. I went ahead and extended it for 10 for some of them, and that still wasn't enough. So we're in negotiations. We'll see what happens. So I always like to remind everybody loves to talk about politics. Everybody loves to talk about the presidential election. Missouri's only got, 10 or 11 electoral votes? So if all of us vote for one person, it's still only 10 or 11 electoral votes. Next week, we are going to have 3 different congressmen. We've always only had one congressman. We're going to have 3 different congressmen. We've got Secretary of State, State Treasurer, Attorney General, State Senator, and 6 different state representatives. This stuff here, your vote really, really matters. It's very important to get to know the candidates as well as the incumbents. So this is a great thing that I think that Jefferson County Growth Association does. I want to thank the college again for allowing us to come out here, JCTV as well as KJFF Radio. So with all of that being said, my term's kind of up as on Jefferson County Growth and Development. I've been doing this since 1995. So when my term expires, I'm going to go do something else. So be sure and come back next week. It'll be my last time to MC it. So I'm looking forward to moving on. I've turned into like the crazy old guy on the board at the board meetings. It's like, well, this is the way we did it in '97. So time for somebody else to come in and get a little new blood in and, hopefully get some good things going here for Jefferson County. So up first for County Council District Number 6 is Kevin Harned.
Thank you. I'm actually greatly relieved after I got here because I heard that this was going to be in a gong show format. And I knew I'd never last the 5 minutes. But honestly, we've got a short period of time to be able to explain who I am. I've never ran for office, so that's going to be important to be able to get that out. I want to thank everybody that's made this possible here, the Meet the Candidates Forum, including Jefferson College. I did get to attend some courses here too to get my teaching certificate, so it was a very pleasant experience. And my name is Kevin Harned again. I've been a resident of Jefferson County most of my life. We moved here when I was less than 2 years old. And I've got a parent, well, both my parents are still alive, and they both live in Jefferson County still. I've got a sister, well, actually 2 sisters that still live in Jefferson County and 1 brother. So we've kind of spread our roots here and stayed. We liked it so much we stayed. My wife Lisa and I have been married for 26 years. We have 2 children. They attended Jefferson County schools. Even though we both attended Athena and DeSoto High School, we never really got a chance to meet until over the course of my 16th birthday. We were out of town visiting relatives in Kentucky, and lightning had struck her house and burned it to the ground. And whenever we returned home to nothing, we stayed with Dad's best friend for 2 weeks, who happened to be the neighbor to my wife. So that is how we met. Out of that, we dated for 5 years and then got married. But I've never ran for office again. I have held several positions as board member on multiple youth sports groups, including starting a couple of safety programs, writing them and creating them for a couple of those groups, and president of Twin City Little League. So I did get a chance to do a lot of volunteer stuff in the county. Most of my time has been in the trades, though. With 27 years in the construction trades, the last 5 has been as an instructor and coordinator at the Painters District Council number 2 in our new Chesterfield facility. And in that, I also have attained my teaching certificate through the state, through DESE in the state of Missouri. Currently, if you guys have ever been in a hospital and you've ever had to call down to order a meal, there's a good chance that you may have gotten my wife on the other end. So some of you may have even cursed her whenever she said that you couldn't have what you wanted to eat. So some of you may know Lisa, but she's just doing it for your best interest, believe me. And in this limited time, I guess the 2 things I want to get across is there's a couple of different governing philosophies. One of them is, in the first type, we believe that the government must protect the citizens from themselves. And in this philosophy, what we do often, it's done through tough restrictions on both property and personal choice. Oftentimes, it is done through putting restrictions, again, on personal and property choice, because we see some as examples who we claim have not made good choices. So then we add more rules because some of those rules were not followed. And then we add more rules because some of those rules were not followed, and so on. I think you guys see the pattern. And the second philosophy tends to be a little more in line with mine, and that is we want to lessen the restrictions and burdens imposed on the citizens and business that is counterproductive to liberty, freedom, and the economic growth of this area. I've always lived in rural Jefferson County and believe that many choose to do so because honestly they don't want to live within the strict or stricter environment of subdivisions or city limits. And whatever we are doing with that, a lot of these folks are just hardworking citizens that want to be left alone. The majority of them are. Now that doesn't mean that we don't have any concern for the environment. It doesn't mean that we don't take into those accounts, but I find it, especially in these hard economic times, to impose, to throw further burdens upon these citizens when they're just trying to keep a roof over their head. I find that can tend to be heartless, and we need to really consider some of these things that we are imposing on people in rural Jefferson County. Again, if they want to live under stricter rules, they can always move to subdivisions or within the city limits. And that's the end. So I thank you, and I want to ask for your vote on November 6th, and thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to digress here just for a second, so work with me. So my son just graduated from Festus High School, and for the prom, he went to the prom with a girl whose name is Brianne Borman, all right? Now, Brianne Borman's grandfather's here, and those of you might know the name Brittany Borman. Brittany was the Jefferson Countyan that represented us in the Olympics just a couple months ago in London. And Brianne broke a bunch of her Olympian sisters' records. So we could have another Olympian here in 4 more years. So that was exciting. Obviously not as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but you know, you just throw stuff out and sometimes it works. But Dan Govro still has his clothes on, so obviously everyone has not joined the group. So anyway, all right, let's welcome up. He actually won the Jeffersonian Award several years ago. I think he even won KJFF's 110% award, Mr. Cliff Lane.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here this evening. As I say, my name's Cliff Lane. I'm running for re-election for District 6 of County Council. I'm a product of DeSoto. I lived in Jefferson County nearly all my life. I was married for 54 years to my wife, Sheila, who passed away in 2010. I have 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren, and 2 dogs. Just a few things that I think could qualify me for the job that I'm running for is I'm familiar with a lot of the county and the functions of the county. I served as vice chairman of the Jefferson County Building Commission for 25 years. I served on the Board of Appeals. I've served on the Board of Equalization. I've served on the EDC. I've served on the Port Authority. And in DeSoto, I've served on the Planning and Zoning and in the Industrial Corporation. I'm an insurance broker for 38 years, a real estate broker for 35 years. And I think if I'm reelected, I can do a good job. I can't tell you I can do things for you personally because I'm one of 7 votes, but I can tell you that my phone is always open to you, and if you call me, I'll do my best for you. Thank you.
All right, well, that just about concludes tonight. So if you could picture yourself on a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. I'm telling you, you can get stuff like this at Metroroff Supply and Hallmark. If you need any legal advice, contact Bob Kister, attorney at law. We got the Jefferson County Labor Club. Now, the motto is, united we stand, divided we beg. You know, that kind of goes for whole Jefferson County, and we always need to be reminded Gravois Bluffs is not in Jefferson County. So I know Renee was talking about all that extra money we got. We could get 10 times more of that money if we would just spend it right here in Jefferson County. So again, we want to thank great companies like Eagle Bank, First State Community Bank, Bank of Bloomsdale, Doe Run, Govro Land Services, and Comtree. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night.